Ladies and gentlemen, can you hear me? Lost in translation over there.
We can hear you loud and clear, brother. How you doing?
Man, I can hear you too, my brother. What's going on, man? How you doing today?
I'm doing well, man. Better than I deserve, brother.
Absolutely. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to Talk That Talk Tuesday. Another great show is going to take place tonight. Me and my co-host over here, Lost in Translation, we're going to be bringing it to you guys tonight. Again, got a couple of videos. It's only going to take 2 for us to do what we got to do. All right. So we're going to do that. But before we do that, let's call out some people in this chat tonight. Lost in Translation, who up in here you see so far? We see What We Know podcast in the building.
We also see Harmonize, yeah.
Reckless
Ray.
Yeah. So far that's what we got. Guys, go ahead and share this. Go ahead and hit the like button, subscribe button if you haven't already. And we're about to have a great show. It's about to go down. I want to bring some people up. Lost in Translation, who you want to bring up first? Who you see that you want to bring up? Let's do the ladies first. We have a celebrity in the building tonight. You know, now y'all about to get her and her husband. Y'all about to get their autographs now, because they're about to blow up. She's a loving wife, a caring mother and nurturing mother. She gets the work done on YouTube as far as marriage and relationships. Man, no other than the better half, if the woman would say it right. Lady Di is in the building tonight. Ladies and gentlemen, let's see Lady Di in this thing tonight. Good to see you. Good to see you. What's going on, girl?
What's up? Always good to be here. Glad you guys are doing well.
Absolutely. We're so thankful to have you in the building tonight. Because we need your perspective. Now, I will say this on behalf of the women. Anissa had a date tonight. Her and Trey are on a date. Let's see. Take heed to the message. Reached out to me and she said, "Black man, my husband just came on me and say he need to cuddle tonight." I said, "Well, go and cuddle with your man. We'll see you next Tuesday. Do your thing." She said, "I'll see y'all next Tuesday." I said, "Okay, well, thank you for letting me know. Go take care of that man." Absolutely. So they'll be back next Tuesday to rock and roll with us. So we're so glad to have them be a part of the family, and also them reaching out and just letting us know that they weren't going to be able to make it, but she'll be listening. Nissa Glad, there she is. Anissa says, "I'm watching you." Laugh out loud. I know it. I'm gonna leave you and Trey alone. All right, let's see who we're gonna bring up next. Let's start here with Reckless Ray is in the building tonight. What's going on, my guy? What's going on?
What is good? Running the numbers up. It's for the next probably, I'd say 12 to 24 months. All y'all gonna hear me talk about is my shit. All right,
I know that's right.
Numbers up.
You better talk. All right,
let's get it. All right, let's see who else we got in here. We got Mr. Bennett is in the building tonight. Mr. Bennett, what's going on, my guy?
Goes well. How's everybody?
Good, man.
Good
to see you. All right, and then we got R Payne in the building. Come on, man. R Payne, you did a great job yesterday on your first show yesterday.
That's by fire.
Good to see you, man. Good to see you. All right, and then we got Brother Clarence is in this thing tonight. Brother Clarence, let's go ahead and get him in this thing tonight.
Yes, sir.
Salute.
Excited to see you, Brother Clarence. That's what I'm talking about. All right, and then last but not least,
shout out to another member of the Brotherhood of Beautiful, Bodacious, Ball Brothers of the Black Network.
Wow.
Brother.
We appreciate that. Now, last but not least, the date didn't go so well. So Trey left her at the restaurant. Sorry, Anissa. Trey just came in to be with us on the show because him and Anissa didn't work out tonight. Welcome to the show tonight, Trey.
What's going on?
What's going on, man? I'm sorry it didn't work out, man. I apologize, brother. I tried, man. I tried with y'all, man. Y'all just ain't gonna work it out. All right. So thank you guys for being here tonight. And I want to, check the temperature of everybody here before we get started and hop into these 2 videos, which I think is important. You see the name of the show tonight. A good mother will make her daughter cover up or smack the hell out of her. All right. You may be wondering where I got that from. We'll talk about that in a minute. Lady Di, how is hubby and how is the family doing today?
Well, he's actually sick. My whole house been sick this whole week. That's why he's not on. But he's not that sick for me to be on here because I'll be making him teas and a whole bunch of stuff. But he is maintaining and he is listening. So,
all right, what's going on, brother? Hey, man, I hope you get well, man. From all of us, man, get well. A lot of people are getting those bugs this time of year, so get well soon, man. And Lady Di, shout out to you for taking care of your man in your household. I appreciate that. Being the example. That's what I'm talking about. All right.
Got to.
Absolutely. Reckless Ray is in the building. Reckless, talk to me. How you been, man?
Man, great. Running the numbers up, baby. You're going to see me smiling for the next 12, 24 months. That's what we do.
Run them up. All right, Mr. Bennett. What about you, man? How's the family? How's the wife?
Family is fantastic. Kids are good. They gifted me with this new microphone for my birthday here. So if I sound a little different, give credit to the daughters for hooking up their daddy. So doing life is good right here.
Sound pretty smooth over there.
Appreciate it. Obviously, never not as smooth as Lost in Translation.
Oh, come on.
Or
No.
JT.
Come on.
I don't got it like that.
Yeah,
you got it like that.
Call him Alabama. Yeah, they call him the Alabama PD. Yeah, he's over there acting a fool over there in Alabama. All right. So who else we got in here? Trey, man, what's going on tonight, man? How you doing, brother?
I'm good. Hope everybody's doing well.
All right, man. It sounds like you're hiding from somebody. Is it Anissa? Hide, man. Don't let her come. If she come in the bathroom, run. Brother Clarence, how are you doing over there in the great state of California?
Oh man, blessed is the best word I can use, man. I don't think I could take it more blessings that God is putting on me, man. So I'm doing well, man. I hope all of you guys are doing even better, man. So everything is well, brother.
Absolutely. Our Payne, last and not least, who just got inducted into the Strippers Hall of Fame. Our Payne, how you doing tonight, man?
I can't complain. Hanging in there, It's all quiet on the Western Front.
Absolutely, man. Well, again, thank you everybody for being here. We're definitely going to jump into these videos because I think these videos are very, very, very important, and they come from a very, very important person in this world. These videos are they're older videos. However, I think that it speaks to the time that we're in now. And I think a lot of videos lately have been speaking to the time that we're in now. Last week, we showed a video of some young ladies, probably 8 years old, 7 to 8 years old, dancing on a table at McDonald's, twerking for their mama on the video. And then we saw the mother who, for Halloween, dressed her daughter as the BBL little girl. Lady, did you see that? That she had to.
I didn't see that one. The last one.
Oh my God! So she had her baby dressed like she had a BBL. So she had her breast stuffed out, and she had the thing on her face, like she had plastic surgery. Had her butt, and the baby was probably 3 years old. Yeah, wow. Yeah, it was tough.
People are crazy.
Yeah, I mean, you tell. Yeah, that's what I'm saying. And it was pretty bad for us to see that. It was hurtful for us to see that. So, the guy that I'm talking about, who's on these videos, both of them, is the Honorable Louis Farrakhan. Now, a lot of people don't like him. A lot of stuff he say, I agree with, and I'm going to play the first video when he's talking about parenting first before we go into the video of the evening. But we're going to listen to this video. And then I want to get everybody's thoughts on what he says about parenting. So I'm gonna pull it up here, and then I'll pull it. Then we'll talk about it afterwards. Here we go.
Straight up, because I'm a straight up preacher. I don't know other way. If you tell me you love your children, but you won't discipline them. If you tell me you love your children, but there are no rules in your home to govern your house, you're confused. You don't love your children. You don't really love yourself. Because if God in his wisdom regulates the affairs of the heavens and the earth by means of law, then there's no way that you can have a decent home if that home has no rules that govern that house, and no punishment for those who break the rules of the house. Now, when I was coming up, my dear mother, I didn't have no father in the house, but my mother was tough enough for both. I didn't miss no man because she was really all that I needed. And she, in the Caribbean, went to the 8th standard, which I guess is compared to the 8th grade. So she didn't have any college degree and didn't know anything about psychology. But she knew about strapology, stickology, and broomology, and knew how to put a whelp on the behind. And it took sometime hours, sometime days. And when she would whip me sometimes, she would say, I'm going to give you something to remember me by. I knew I was in deep trouble, brother. And then when I would lie, and you know, y'all lie. Everybody lies. Is anybody in here not a liar? Raise your hand. That's the liar right there. And why do you lie? Tell the truth. We lie to protect what we think will damage our security. Did you? No, yes, I did. Well, anyway, my mother would always catch me in these lies. I never could lie good enough to fool that woman. And then when she whipped me, she whipped me for the thing that I did. All right, that was over. She said, now come. Because the lie that you told is worse than the thing that you did. You see, son, a liar will steal, and a thief will murder. So I gonna cut you off at the lie. So what a mother. What a mother. And I wouldn't have the heart to call 911. My finger would be left on the phone. And my mother would whoop the police if they came. I'm just telling you straight up. Don't come to my house when I'm disciplining my babies. I will discipline your behind. We as a family have to take back our right to put rules in our house and discipline our babies according to those rules.
All right. What are you guys' thoughts? I'll start with the lady of the house tonight. Lady Di, what are your thoughts about what you just heard?
So there are different types of parents.
Mm-hmm.
Different type of, even in a married household, you know, the husband disciplines the children different from the wife. So it's like, it kind of makes sense to, well, you would never know until you become a parent, but it kind of makes sense to find someone who has similar disciplinary skills or even backgrounds. You just ask them, you know, how was your childhood? Because when it comes to the kids, if you let one person rule over how you discipline, it's going to mess the whole entire dynamic up. You got to be on one accord with that. That's the first thing. Second, you know, letting kids get away with basically murder, in my opinion. You got to really let them know who you are, you know, having that type of fear in your child, not in a bad way like the boogeyman, but fear in a sense where they don't want to mess up because they know they're going to get in trouble. Whatever trouble looks like in the house, it doesn't have to be physical. It could just be, you know, they're scared of maybe the punishment. So you have to make sure your kids are disciplined to listen to you as the first adult, because as soon as they leave the house, you know, they have cops, they have, you know, everything else outside of that. So if they can't listen to you, then your child is screwed. Their whole life in the beginning of their, you know, adulthood might be screwed up. Stuff can be turned around, but it's, you know, you want to teach your kids how to kind of do the right thing, especially since we're older. We've done things that might not have been the best. So you try to teach your kids, hey, I don't want you to be like me, or I don't want you to be like people that I know. So this is how we're going to do it. Give plenty of examples. Preaching to your kids are nice, so they could get an understanding, but giving them an example is better, because kids, they just like us. Sometimes we don't want to hear people that we're not interested in. So kids are the same way. Even just because you're their father or their mom does not mean they're listening to you. So you have to give them breaks, for me, I show movies. So my stepson, he's like 12 now. He's about to be 13. So I'll show movies. Like there's one movie called Black Phone. And it's about, I don't know if you guys seen it, but it's about,
Kevin Bacon, right?
No, not Kevin Bacon.
Not Kevin. What's the other? I know who you're talking about. I saw the movie. The top hat guy.
Yes.
Yeah.
If you guys haven't seen that, watch that. It's interesting. You want to show your kids real life examples. They love TV, so pull the TV out. Hey, this movie is from a true story, or show them articles so they can have an idea. Hey, I don't want you to be out there with them, bad kids. I want you to come on this side. So real life examples. Also, he said, keep talking about how do you love your children. So I'll say this, in my opinion, how to love your kids is more like try to stay together with the other parent. Because sometimes it looks a little selfish when people divorce and the kids are kind of left behind. Now, sometimes divorce is needed. And then there's times where it's more of a selfish act. So when you are divorcing, your kids are going to kind of be left behind and just have to rely on whoever they're living with. And it's going to be hard to parent like that. It's not the end of the world. I had that life happen to me and I came out okay, but everybody's different. So some kids take separation to heart. I live with a kid that has that issue. Okay. So it's kind of like, you got to make sure kids are in the right space in their head to understand change. But divorce is life, but try to stay together with the parent. That's the best parenting, in my opinion.
All right. Thank you so much. We'll go down and then go up. Trey, what are your thoughts?
I'm a big proponent that the child dictates what type of discipline they get. Like I said before, and I've used the example in my own home. I had to get spankings. You had to spank me. If you didn't spank me, you won't get ran over as a parent. Whereas my sister was different. You could just simply talk to her sternly. She'd break down in tears and tell you she'd never do it again, and she was so sorry that you were disappointed in her. Two completely different children, completely different styles of parenting. But you had to. You better, Minister Louis Farrakhan. I very rarely disagree with what he said. Very rarely. I think I'm a Muslim deep down inside somewhere. But he talked about the strap. You better go get that strap for me. And I don't mean it like that. Pause. I don't even know why I said that. Why did I say
Pause.
that? I don't even know why I said that. Wow. But you know what I mean. You had to go get the belt for me. And I'm gonna tell you some real shit. My mother had a belt. It had flowers on it, and we used to call it flower power. We used to call it flower power because it had the power to change your behavior. And that was a belt. I never forget. It was a black belt, and it had like little flowers on it. And that was the belt that she used primarily for me. I think, you can't go beating every child. Some children, it's ineffective. It doesn't work for them, right? But other children, it does work for. And I think I agree with the minister in saying that, listen, even when I was on duty and in law enforcement, I would go into homes and, the parents, they always felt like they were hopeless. And I would look at them and tell them, well, here in DC, you can discipline your child. I don't know where, other places maybe you can't, but here in DC, you can discipline your child. Now, there's a fine line between discipline and abuse, right? And that's what we're here for. But I'm going to help you out. If your child, and one case that stuck out to me was a 9-year-old girl who had snuck out the house to go hang out with some teenagers. And mom tore her up when she got back. I mean, tore her up. And the girl had the nerve to call the police. Well, lo and behold, I got the call. It was the worst thing that could have ever happened to that little girl. I got the call. And when I got in that house, she said, well, my mama beat me. I said, well, what did she beat you for? I left the house and I wasn't supposed to. I said, so you mean you snuck out? She was like, well, yeah, but she can't beat me. My exact words, and it's on camera, the hell she can't. My exact words, the hell she can't. You do not get to sneak out of the house at 9 years old and go hang out with some teenage boys and smoking weed and all this, and there's no repercussions or consequences. As far as I'm concerned, you are not. I don't see any cuts and bruises on you. I don't see anything. I see you got disciplined properly because that's what was necessary to keep your behind from running out of the house in the middle of the night. Your mother ultimately, at the end of the day, is responsible for you. If anything happens, we're gonna ask her, why is your daughter out here in the streets? We're gonna ask her those questions. So ultimately, to me, the child dictates the type of discipline depending on what they're receptive to and what works best for them, right? My daughter, isolation, right? You don't need to spank her, isolate her. She want to hang out with everybody. She want to kick it with everybody. Just make her go to her own room by herself. That will destroy her. She doesn't like that everybody else is having fun and she's in the room by herself. That's more than enough punishment for her. That works very well. So it just depends. But I don't disagree with what the minister is saying.
I appreciate that, man. Brother Clarence, what are your thoughts about what the Honorable Louis Farrakhan just said?
Let me turn my camera on. Here we go. Yeah, man, it's always a delight to get some enlightenment from Brother Farrakhan. It's always a like now. Now, as far as strap, I think most people are taking what he's saying literally, and it's has two meanings. It could be a literal meaning, but I think what he's more trying to get is more of the figurative meaning, where the strap is the rules, the law. That's the law that you're going to apply, and then you have things that happen if the law is broken. Just like in the regular world, you have if the law is broken, then there's repercussions for that. But if you have a child that comes in, fixes, he eats when he wants to eat, he does his homework or he doesn't, or he does whatever, and he's all over the place, he could do whatever he wants. That child, when he gets into the adult world where there's lots of rules, he's gonna have problems. So to get and the discipline is not just when they do bad. You're constantly disciplining. You're constantly encouraging them to do better. You're constantly encouraging them. But most people say, oh, I'm disciplining them when I'm putting a belt to their behind, right? I think our generation, most of us up here, we were the belt to the behind group, right? This group now is difficult to do a lot of that stuff in the way that it happened to us, because the society is not as willing to mind their business. So in that situation, we have to have more creative ways on applying that strap, not necessarily so much physically, but in a environmental way, because we got away. Let me finish this real quick. We got away from sitting at the table with our children. See, back in the day when I was coming up, most of y'all was coming up, you sat at the table and your father went around the table saying, how was your day? What did you learn? What did you do? But we don't do that now, man. Whoever comes in, well, a lot of times father's not there, right? The mother's running 2 jobs, maybe, right? Stops at McDonald's, go get something, go eat something in your room, and they on the, they in their own watching Prime, right? So we gotta bring the family back together, man. That kitchen table is very important, but the overall environment, we got to discipline our children 24/7, and we disciplining them with encouraging them to do good, and then discouraging them to do bad. That's what I think. But a very nice piece from Brother Farrakhan.
Absolutely, man. Thank you, Ricky. Thank you for being here tonight, man. Since you just came in before we go upstairs, introduce yourself, sir.
Oh, I got you.
Allow me to reintroduce myself. My name is
What are your thoughts, Ricky? Turn your mic up.
Oh, my bad. How we doing?
There you go.
That sounds good.
Okay. Yeah. It's an old saying, right? I'd rather be feared than loved, because the fear lasts longer. Right? Your children have to have a healthy fear of you. Because if they're not afraid of you, why would they listen? Respect is rooted in some type of fear, whether y'all want to believe it or not. Fear of being wrong, fear of being caught, fear of being misjudged is rooted in a fear. Right? Let me give y'all a prime example. Me, I'm the oldest boy. I'm the middle. I'm the middle child, but I'm the oldest boy. My little brother, right? When I was 11 and he was 9, we was over at the candy store, and I kept telling him, "Don't run out in the street. Wait for me. Wait for me." We was watching somebody play Yi Kung Fu. He didn't want to wait for me. He snatched his hand away from me, ran outside, got dragged, and blocked in half by a car. Right? I got a whooping for it. My little brother never got whoopings. Never. Never. It was always my responsibility because I'm the older brother. Look out for your little brother. Right? My brother then did 4 stints in jail. I ain't been to jail once. Whoop your kids. I ain't saying abuse them. I ain't saying go upside their head with a brick whenever you feeling front. Whoop your kids. Hopefully your child doesn't have to put you in that position. Hopefully your child, because again, on YouTube, everybody got the answers, everybody got it figured out. Yeah, everybody better than everybody else, right? Right? So, but me personally, I tell my kid, if it come to me, you getting a whooping. My wife is the teacher of the children. She passed down what I expect to the children. If it got to the point where she was like, "I'm telling your daddy, you getting a whooping." Now, was it a lot of them? No, my wife's a very strong woman, very good woman. Handled a lot of stuff before they ever had to get to me. But to say I wasn't gonna whoop a child, that's a lie. That's a lie. Not abuse. But if a child continues to test the length of their rope, something's going to have to happen. If not, you're no longer a parent. If not, you're no longer the one in control. If not, you're no longer the authority. Right? And I tell my kids all the time, if I don't whoop your ass, the world will.
Man, you sound like me.
So whatever you do in your house is what you do in your house, but that's what I do in my house. That's all I got.
Man, thank you, man. Let's go upstairs here. Arpain, what are your thoughts about what you heard the Honorable Louis Farrakhan say?
Yeah, I agree with him. I had 2 girls, so I didn't have to really get rough with them at all. They were, I don't know if they were strange. From the standpoint, my children never whine. They never, you know how kids go whine about this and that and shit like that? No matter whether we were in public, private, you know, they seem to appreciate everything we did for them. And I had like simple rules, you know, when they were growing up. I expect you to, you know, learn how to read, learn how to write, be good in school, do your homework. And I set up spaces for them to do that every day. And I really, you know, and I had to discipline my daughter, my oldest one, especially by telling her stories. Like, for example, she wanted a lock on her door. And I told her, so listen, you know, go get the mail. And she got the mail, and I went through the mail. I said, which one of these envelopes has your name on it for bills? And she said, well, none, Daddy. I said, well, when the bills come to the house with your name on it, then you could get a lock on your door. And let me also let you know that it's a blessing you have a door. I could take it off the hinge and you won't even have that. And she never brought that shit up again. So those are the kind of things so I had to talk to her like that, you know, and, you know, she's doing well, you know, and then when she went to college, she messed up a little bit, like a lot of kids did. And I was livid. So she was more upset that I was disappointed in her. And then the next semester, she was on the dean's list, and she, you know, graduated pretty high and stuff like that. My youngest daughter, I pretty much didn't have to tell her anything. I've never seen a kid compartmentalize their life naturally like she did. She's an accomplished musician, and she wanted to be an architect when she was 9 years old. And I kept asking her. First thing I asked her was how to spell it. She did. When she was a teenager, what do you want to do? I want to be an architect. When she went to college, she graduated as an architect. She's working for a firm now, and she still does her music. and her life is completely compartmentalized. And the funny thing is that when I tell her to do something, I look at this shit calculated in her head and says, when is this on my list? And if it's not on her, prominent on her list, I have to keep prodding her. But I have to tell her some stories too. But I was blessed that way. Those two girls, I didn't have to really discipline them in any real hard fashion. I think if I had sons, that would have been different. So they're doing okay. So I feel blessed about that. But I do agree that if I had to, they would have got their asses kicked, man. There's no doubt about it. So, but I didn't have to do that. So I feel blessed. I didn't have to worry about it.
All right. Now, Mr. Bennett, what are your thoughts? I know you have girls as well. So what are your thoughts about what you heard Louis Farrakhan say?
I guess a little conflicted in the sense that, I mean, he's talking about the background that he came from, and he talked about he never, like, and I was just reading up, he never knew his biological father.
Mhm.
So you're already putting a woman in a situation where, and he says that she was strong enough for both of them. And I find it interesting, and especially in these spaces, we talk about what's wrong with Black women today. Oh, they so strong and dominant and masculine and all these things. So she had to take on a lot of masculine traits because the father, for whatever reason, decided to leave the family. So I just think the whole situation is just, you're asking us to judge a situation where there's just dysfunction all the way around. And asking what is the best course of action in that situation. I mean, I think I agree certainly a bit more Brother Clarence is saying, like, discipline is 24/7. It's total. It's from the beginning. It's the environment that you have your kids in. It's creating the most nurturing environment for them to function in. It's a lot of things. And look, I've never, like our opinion, I never spanked my kids. I just never believed in that. Our prisons are full of brothers and sisters who've been beat with the belt and whatever else, chains and whips and wires and iron and board, whatever you name. Our prisons are full of them. So I'm not going back to, we need to go back to the old school and beating them, all that kind of stuff. I'm not there on yet. You can certainly, everyone can find their own anecdotal in terms of what worked for them or what they needed. And again, there might be situations. I mean, the fact that the man was born in the Bronx, Brother Farrakhan, and then he moved to Roxbury, Boston, not Massachusetts, not to save his blazes either. So sometimes your environment is such where if you have a lack of male presence, you're in an environment that is not nurturing, where there's gangs or whatever it is that's going on. Yeah, you may have to do more dramatic measures to keep your kids in line, so they're not fell victim to the streets or whatever. But you're asking this question: how do we function in dysfunction? More so than what is necessarily the right thing to do or whatever. So I'll only talk about my experience. Again, involved with the kids early on, kept them in activities, kept structure, kept discipline, kept consistency in the house. I tell my kids say all the time, my parents are the most boring parents in the world. We just have in our house, our rules, no drama here. And we just kept, that's just something even to this day. It's like, don't bring drama here. And that's, that's how we've gotten to this point. So again, I'll just speak for me in that regard. I'm not a big fan of corporal punishment, but that's not to say that situations, if we were different, someone may have to use that. But I just find his background and just the situation, especially when you talk about his mom being tough enough for both of them, with the father being absent. But then we talk about what's going on with Black men and Black women today. So this stuff obviously started in he was born in 33. So this happened in the 50s. So for everyone to talk about all this stuff happened after the 70s and welfare and all this kind of stuff. Now it was happening there also. So again, we like to paint a picture of how it was back in the day. Not everybody was happy. Not everybody was together back in the day either. So I think we need to really, be careful about what history we want to romanticize. But obviously he came out of that situation on the other side, but that's not everybody.
All right. Thank you for that. JT, what's up, my guy? Good to see you, man.
Is my mic, does it sound better now?
You clear, man.
Yeah, you good. You good.
Clear.
right, Reckless Ray, man. What are your thoughts on what you heard, and then we'll get to JT.
Man, well, so obviously I don't have kids. But as a kid who grew up, I fell in the Trey camp. Like my mom pretty much had to just beat me relentlessly from second grade to sophomore year. Like it's just what it is. Like there was no in between. What I will say though is Farrakhan's approach and his statement in this is very telling of basically most men who grew up with a single mother. They have it's like this like gray area where they can't see the difference between their rhetoric and their reverence for their mother, and be like, yo, you grew up out of order, bro. Like, let's call it what it is. Let's keep it a stack. And she probably overcompensated. My mom did, but my mom was in a masculine field. My mom is masculine. Like, it's just what it is. Like, she was a detective. Like, she literally could kill people. So it's a little bit different than Farrakhan's mom, but I could see how in certain situations, like if you know what the situation your child is going into and you don't have rose-colored glasses on about the environment that you're in, you're going to overcompensate for that lack of masculine presence. The issue is a woman overcompensating for a lack of masculine presence is still shrouded in emotion. It's not logical. So you're literally training that boy. You're giving them the discipline in an emotional fashion that's not logical. That doesn't make sense. So it kind of skews the rules. Honestly, like, because if you could just get beat for anything, there's no like escalation of progression. It's just like, if I have to discipline you, we're going to this level. Then, like what are you making there? Which is where I could see where it could not work. But to the other thing, at least in my experience, like I always had a counter to that, which was like my grandmother, which shielded me from my mother killing me in between second grade and sophomore year. So I don't think that you can have two parents that are exactly the same disciplinarian style, because then it's going to be a problem. Like, discipline should come from the man. Women and children get to be happy. If you are a woman and you have kids, you should be happy with the kids. That is your job. If you have a husband, he should be the disciplinarian. Like, that's just insane to me that you think as a woman, your kid's not like going to be worried about you. He'll worry about it until he gets big enough to hurt you. is the reality of the situation. Because then what are you telling him? like at a certain point, we realize like what we are. No matter what you do. And if you neuter us to the point where we never do realize what we are, you have created a useless man. Congratulations. You've made a liability for the rest of us. Good on you. Hope he takes care of you, because he's worthless to the rest of society. But overall, I feel like he's right. There has to be some level set of discipline. And I think what Brother Clarence said is also important, that there has to be a family dynamic to where the discipline can be received. You can't just be coming home, putting hands on your kids with no relationship with your kid. You just a person that shows up to hit them at that point. And I experienced that because like my mom, when she was in her heyday of work, I only saw her to get my ass beat. For years, that was our interaction. I'd mess up at school. I'd mess up out in the neighborhood or something, and she would show up and beat the crap out of me and then like go about her business. And like, that was literally our interaction on and off for probably decade and a half. That was the relationship. Like, it's the time at home, the how are you doing, the bill, because the discipline has to come from somewhere. Otherwise, the person that you're disciplining, you're not actually, you're teaching them consequence. I guess that was one thing that I definitely learned. There is consequence, which is important, especially for a young man. You have to know that there is consequence, because if you don't teach the consequence, the world teaches the consequence. And generally speaking, we don't survive that. So It's better to have that clearly defined level set of like, hey, there are limits and there are consequences, period. But it's received a lot different when it's coming from somebody that you know cares about you. Like the one time my grandmother swung on me one time before she died, and so I made her mad. It was after I got big. I realized what I was. And I was like, I've tested everybody. My grandmother swung on me. And even though I dodged it, but like I felt so bad that she got so mad at me that she swung on me, that like, because like I knew like this woman had shielded me from every beating possible that she could. And like for her to get that upset, like even after the altercation was over, because I'm hard-headed, so like I had to thug it out through the altercation. But after it was over, I felt really bad. Like where I was like, I got to check myself, because like that's somebody, like that's not my mom. She didn't just show up to hit me. Like this is the person who keeps me from getting hit, and she wants to hit me. Like I got a problem. and it hits different because like my grandmother could like yell at me and make me cry. Like honestly, like she was like one of those people who could dress you down, because like I knew everything that she'd done for me and all the stuff that she continued to do for me, that like when I made her upset, it actually hurt differently. She could get through to me without hitting me. Like, and so I mean, I think the family dynamic's important. I think what he said's right, but my question is, and you already know where I'm going to go with this. This is Arpane's fault. And it's Arpane's fault because who made these people that made these people? You did. like these people show up to your house for holidays. You don't say shit. Obviously, because they're running around here with zero shame. They're running around here with zero. Y'all got the game. The game was not handed down, and we can't expect people without the skills to do the job because we have adult age children that never grew up, because every generation they got closer and closer to being friends, and now they're all best friends, and they don't have the skills. They don't have the skills. They don't have the shame. People don't feel bad about anything they do. Little kids twerking with their mama. There's zero accountability. The parents and the children are on the same level. They're different sizes. Like, how do you blame these people? Like, most of the people that I see with children right now, I consider as like mentally handicapped reproductive machines. They make a whole bunch of kids. They got the same cognitive level as these kids. That's the reason they're running around being friends with them until they get into the same pool, because these women are out here single. And so they're old age. Now they competing to have me bust them down. Both of them, the daughter and the mom, acting exactly the same. Like there's no difference. So they don't know any better. And like my question is like, how much blame? Like, I mean, is it? I don't even know if we can even shame them now. I saw the Sexy Red video, bro. It's over. It is over.
And to add to that,
you don't like pregnant twerkers? You don't like pregnant twerkers? That's not your thing, right?
Bro, I thought that baby was gonna fall out, bro.
Bro, but did you see what happened in her last? Did you see what happened in her last concert?
Yeah.
The people started throwing water bottles at her and hitting her with water bottles.
Hey, maybe we gonna bring Shane back, bro. Maybe we finally hit the fever pitch.
But go ahead, Lost in Translation.
Chicago ain't want to hear none of that.
JT, you got the flow, man. What's your thoughts, man, on what the minister's saying?
Okay, so just to be fair, I didn't see the video. I was out here trying to get my life together. So I'm going to yield the floor so we can move forward.
Okay. All right. Lost in Translation, give your thoughts, and then I'll play the second video.
Here's my thing, man. Yes, I got whoopings. But if I got a whooping, it's because I deserved it. You know what I'm saying? I'm putting it like that. Here's the thing about discipline, man. Discipline doesn't start at the whooping. You know what I'm saying? Discipline starts every single day. And my dad knew exactly what type of kids he had. You know what I'm saying? Because if it got past my mom, it was because we did something we had no business doing and we ignored her. You see what I'm saying?
Mm.
And she used to say those words, wait until your father gets home. That was it, boss. We already knew it was a wrap. It was a wrap. And my grandmother used to tell us all the time, man, she said, obedience is better than sacrifice. And it took me a long time to figure out what that was. But the minute I started paying attention to what she was saying and I started listening to what my dad is saying, I said, you know what? The whooping stopped. Let me tell you, the last whooping I got from my dad, I think I was probably about 12 years old. He looked me in my eye. He said, that's the last whooping you ever gonna get from me. He said, the next whooping you're gonna get is gonna come from the world. He said, I'm tired. I can't do this no more. You know what I mean? You're almost bigger than me. You know what I mean? You got common sense. You know what I'm saying? So he said, that's it. I ain't whooping you no more. And I looked him right in the eye and I understood exactly what he meant. You see what I'm saying? Because all you have to do is do what he tell you to do, man. And it ain't like he ain't raise us. You know what I'm saying? He said, hey, do this, do that. You know what I mean? He kept us busy, man. He didn't have us, running around outside. There was a time for that in the summertime or whatever, but in the evening time, we're always reading. Encyclopedias, whatever. Keep your mind busy. You know what I'm saying? That's the main reason why I'm as smart as I am, because that's what I did in my spare time. And after a while, I developed a thirst for knowledge. You see what I'm saying? So while I was busy learning, there was no time to get into trouble. Even in my old age, I'm always researching stuff, always learning. You know what I mean? Trying to figure people out, trying to help people along the way, try to help the world see things the way I see it from time to time, and sit back and listen to other people and see how they see things from time to time. And you won't have time to be, in trouble all the time. You're busy, you're being productive. And I think that was the main reason why I never really got into any whole bunch of trouble. You know what I'm saying? It's just, when you have a whole entire village, from your grandmother to your grandfather, to your parents, to your aunties, you didn't have no time off. You know what I'm saying? There was no time to get into trouble, because if your aunt saw you doing something, oh yeah, she gonna tell your mama. And when she tell your mama, she gonna tell your daddy. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
Now, here's the thing. My grandfather never laid a hand on us. My grandmother never laid a hand on us. My mother never laid a hand on us. But my daddy, he didn't do it that often, but when he did it, we remembered. You know what I'm saying? It was because of something that we wasn't supposed to do. But here's the thing. During the beating, he explained to us why he was doing it. He gave us a countdown. You know what I'm saying? He said, you're going to get 10 lashes. If you do it again, it's going to be 20. You know what I'm saying? That type of thing. So he let us know why he was doing it and what the direct punishment was. And if you do it again, here's the next punishment. You see what I'm saying? So it wasn't one of these things where it was just rage, where you just rage out and just abuse your child. He gave you the countdown. He gave you the rules, pretty much just like in life. Life going to give you the rules. And if you don't follow the rules, guess what? There's no guarantee that life going to stop. You see what I'm saying? So my thing is this: make sure that you understand the rules and make sure you know where your punishment is coming from. That's all I'm going to say about that. Now, as far as girls are concerned, yeah, it takes different stuff for girls. You know what I mean? It's like our pain and Mr. Bennett said, girls is different, but boys, look at it this way. Your boys are going to be leaders someday. You know what I mean? They're going to be pushed in directions that women aren't going to be pushed in. So there's a certain amount of level of discipline that must be applied. You see what I'm saying? So it's not to cause pain or psychological abuse. You want to make sure you let them know, hey, someday you're going to be a leader, and sometimes you're going to run across things that don't always make you feel comfortable. The world's not going to treat you fair. You know what I mean? But rest assured, if you follow the rules and you do what you're supposed to do, then your life will be a whole lot easier. And my grandmother used to tell us all the time, spare the rod, spoil the child. You got to train up a child in the way that you walk, so when he's old, he won't depart. So those are some of the things she used to tell us all the time. And eventually that type of stuff sinks in. And eventually when you get kids, you'll have to pass that information on. And that doesn't come from beating. That comes from having admiration for the person that's teaching you. And sometimes we have to make sure that our kids have admiration for those who are supplying the wisdom, And not only that, you have to make sure that they see the application of that wisdom and how it could benefit them. And eventually they'll stop doing crazy stuff and start following the rules. But yes, you should discipline your kids, but it should not start at the beating. It should start from day one.
Yeah, and I'll say this is because you said something when it comes to the difference between girls and boys. Let me tell y'all something. I have 3 girls and I have 3 boys. My son had a healthy dose of fear for his daddy. Then my son turned 16. And in the South, we have something we call smelling yourself.
Oh, yes. Oh, yes.
And my son, about a year ago, started to smell himself. And one day, this is for the people who are against it. One day, my son decided to say, he let it come out in some rage. He said, I said, son, go do your room. That room, you're not going nowhere until that room done. I don't care about that dance tonight. You're not going until it's clean. I'll do it when I get back, man. Don't, man, stop talking to me, bro. I'm already mad. And
did you hear what I said?
Yeah. He missed the dance because he danced with me. Because I asked him, you want to be a man? It's time for you to step up and be that. If you want the kingdom, you have to take it, son. After he took the AO, he went to sleep. He missed the dance.
How long was his hospital stay?
It was a while. I had to go in and slap him on the cheek to see if he was still with us. Because this is what, let me be transparent. He said, I said, son, what you think you could, he said, I said, you want to go get the gloves? This is what he said back to me. Oh, you gonna let me get the gloves? Yeah. He said, all right. Well, since you brought it up, I ain't holding back. I said, okay. That's what I'm talking about. Let's go get the gloves. And his mother said, that's enough. He down.
The boy done took enough of a beating.
Yep. And I said, help him on into the bed, lay him down. She laid him down. He
You
woke
hit him
up,
with that kidney shot?
No, I gave him everything I had. And he
kidney shot.
I gave him everything I had. And when he woke up, I slapped and woke him up. I said, listen, what just happened is the difference between what you are now and what I am now. I'm a man and I'm your father. You will never disrespect me again. And if you do, well, and I haven't had any issues ever since. Because all I have to do is say gloves. I think he gets a little PTSD. I say gloves. He jump a little bit. Just don't play with me. And so my son JJ said, Jabari, just lay down. It's over.
Throw in the towel, Rock.
Yeah. So it was bad. But you know what? The same thing happened with me when I was a kid. Around the same age, I did the same thing on my dad. But my dad took it a little different because back in the day, they had a saying, if I brought you into the world, I'll take you out. And so I was bigger than my dad at the time. I was playing ball at the time. And I grabbed my dad. I said, hey, poof, like this against the wall. He said, I'll be right back. And I remember him going, oh, yeah. I remember him going in the room and I heard that, I heard that. I said, whoa, you love me, don't you? He said, I love you, but I kill you if I let you whoop me.
He's cheating. Hey, that's cheating.
Yeah, he was cheating. But we grew up. That's what I'm saying to the men that have sons. They're going to get to a point where no matter what you do for them, I love my son. I love all my kids. But they get to a point where they smell themselves and they want to try you, or they want to say something smart or go off the rail with you because of friends or because they can't do anything. I tell my kids, we got a saying. I can bring them all in here right now, and I can say it. They'll finish it. In order to do what you want to do, they'll come right here and say, you got to do what you got to do. Exactly. That's the motto. That's the motto in my house.
Hey, Black man, you driving these gentle parents crazy right now. They losing.
I don't care. I don't care because let me tell you what happens. I don't say nothing to them. They already know the schedule. My kids in the house, I pay all the bills. Me and your mom, and we have an expectation of you when you get up in the morning to make your bed. Make sure your clothes are ironed. Listen, I'm not going to put my wife through no string with stress with these big ass kids in here. They're 16, 15, 13. The twins are 13, and the youngest is 11. You're going to iron your own clothes. You're going to have them ready for I want them ironed for the week. That's every Sunday. But I want to make sure your clothes are done. The floor is swept, mop. The bathroom is clean. Who's there is it for the bathroom, kitchen, living room? Who's out there in the garage? I need it done. Let's go. Let's get it done. We have a schedule, right? If they don't do it, I don't say anything. I'll go right behind them and do it, or my wife will go do it. Then they'll be like, I'll let them get dressed. We about to go to the movies and see the new movie. Absolutely, you are. And Daddy, you ready? No. You're not going. You go take your clothes off. I'm glad you got dressed. You look real good. Hey, man, you would have been clean tonight, but you're not going because I had to go in the garage and do your job today. I had to go do your chore today. So you're not going anywhere. Then I shut them down. And then the next time, my oldest son, he didn't figured it out. He get up early in the morning. You hear that room because he at a point in his life, it's prom, it's homecoming, it's going to track basketball games, chilling, want to go on a date or two. I shut it down because if you got to do what you got to do what you want to do, and that's how I roll over at this crib. However, let me get to the second video, guys. Because Louis Farrakhan, this is the second one. And he got a little aggressive with this one. Here we go.
Good mother will make her daughter cover or smack the hell out of her. If I was a mother, I'd whoop the hell out of you. You wouldn't have to walk around my house naked, but one time, when I get finished with your behind, you have some clothes on. And every time I see you, I'd blaze you until you got that message. You know why? There are too many brothers sleeping with their sisters. There are too many fathers trying to mess with their daughters. There's too many uncles trying to mess with their nieces. And you wives, you gotta be alert. You sleep too damn much. And you let your girls run around in a house and you're asleep while there's strange men in the house. You better wake up and smell the coffee before we charge you and beat the hell out of you for your neglect of your own children. You say that's awful. You say that's terrible for a man of God to speak like that. Let me tell you something. You ain't met a man of God yet. A man of God will not only beat you, he'll kill you. Go read your Bible. The men of God don't play with you.
All right, we'll start with Trey. What are your thoughts?
Yeah, maybe a little over the top in the delivery, but effective nonetheless. I think sometimes you need to shock people by saying things. I'm a firm believer in that. Sometimes I say things just to get your attention. Now I know you're listening to me. Now when I know you're listening to me, now I can say it the way I want to say it. You have to catch people's attention. I think he has a way of using words to be what's the word I'm looking for? Not necessarily controversial, but to sort of a shock jock type of thing. I don't disagree with him about dealing with young girls. I mean, like I said, all I can relate to is being in law enforcement and going into all of those homes, hundreds of homes where these girls were out of control, and it just seemed like nobody could do anything, especially when there was no father around. I will say this: I hardly ever went into a home where the father was there. I can probably count on one hand. I went into a home where there was an actual dad that was there, and typically that dad was a reserved sort of passive kind of guy that really didn't say much, or he was an alcoholic, or he was a drug. There was some sort of other thing going on as to why he wasn't leading that family. But I hardly ever went into homes where there was an active dad that was present and that was leading the family. I don't remember those homes. I haven't ever going into them. What I do remember is going into homes where mom worked 2 jobs, or mom had a problem. Maybe she was a drug addict, maybe she was an alcoholic, and the daughter was essentially being raised by what she saw at the time, what she saw on BET or MTV or social media, whatever the case may be. I do think there is a certain level of responsibility that women have when it comes to, I guess I'll use the word policing, but policing other younger girls' behavior. I think it makes more sense coming from a woman than it does coming from a man. At least it should, right? But most times it probably doesn't. I mean, we look around today. I mean, I got a young cousin. She's 15. I just so happened to go on her Instagram about 2 weeks ago, and I could not believe what I was seeing. I mean, I could not believe that what she was wearing. She had a twerking video on there, and I called her mama. And I told her mama, you better take care of it before I do. That's all I said to her, and I hung up. I checked about 4 days later. She had 2 pictures on there. One was her class picture, and one was a family picture. So mom got the message. And I don't understand why it took for me to have to make that phone call in the first place. There are a lot of parents out here, male and female, mother and father, that are asleep at the wheel when it comes to parenting. They're not doing what they're supposed to be doing as far as parenting is concerned. Your job is to be up in your child's business. That's your job. I feel bad for my daughter because I'm going to be all up in her shit. She has no choice. I told you guys before when we talked about another situation with the practice. Remember you talking about the girls with the 15-year-olds that were dancing and twerking? That would have never got to. They wouldn't have been able to have that dance because I would have been in a practice going, what the hell's going on here? They would have never got there. So to a degree, I agree with him. I think he might have been, I don't want to say he was being emotional, but I think his language is probably a little over the top, maybe a little bit unnecessary, but I get what he was trying to say, and I don't necessarily disagree with him.
Yeah, and thank you for that, Trey. Lady Di, what Trey was alluding to before you comment on the video, Diana, the dancing dolls, right? She has her own show. They just did a chair dance to Leg Shaking by R. Kelly, and it was very seductive. I mean, very seductive. And we showed it on the Friday show, and the men couldn't even they wanted to turn it off. And these girls are 13, 14, 15 years old. And they were on the floor, stroking the floor, stroking the chairs. I mean, it was bad.
Wow.
And so that's what Trey is talking about when he said he would have been at practice asking, hey, what the hell's going on here? Because I think Diana went a little too far with that dance. And to do it to Leg Shaking, knowing what that song means, do it to your leg shaking, and have these 13, 14, 15-year-old girls out there stroking it out. But anyway, what are your thoughts about that and the video that you just saw?
So when I was in high school, I used to dance with the band. So like what you see on Drumline, I know everybody's seen that movie. I was a dance girl like that. But our coach, we couldn't dance provocative. We couldn't do twerking. Even the clothes we wore had to have been of class. So I had that type of discipline at that time as far as the dancing goes. So when I see the dancing dolls, it's kind of weird because those girls are like in middle school.
Mm-hmm.
So to be, first of all, high school is not even appropriate to do that, but especially middle school, that's kind of where they're still learning. And high school is when they practice. So you cannot have middle school girls dancing like that and expect them to not get pregnant, when they're in high school. So, what happens is mothers think that it's cute. Some moms wish they dance or can dance like that. So it's like they're living through their daughters. And I believe that women got to be careful with that. Let your children, learn to want to do what they want instead of you pushing and say, yeah, girl, do that. And then they buy them all these outfits that make it seem like it's okay. And then now these girls are like, yeah, I can do that. Oh, wow, my mom approves of it. And I had a little bit of that upbringing, just a little bit with my mom. She was one of those that she had a really strict upbringing. So she was like, I'm not going to raise my child like that. I want her to be free. So free as in, I'm going to let her wear what she wants to wear. I'm not going to just say, okay, you can't wear that. So if there was a trend of girls wearing mini skirts, my mom would let me wear a mini skirt. So in that way. But then I'll go to my grandma's house and she's like, you're not going to the store with me with those clothes on.
I know that's right.
You're going. And I'm like, but my mom let me wear it, which is her mom. Which is her daughter. She was like, my mom lets me wear it. And she's like, it doesn't matter. You're not going with me nowhere. Take that off. So I'm like, dang, I never seen my grandma act like that. But obviously she's very upset. So I asked her, I said, so what's too short, And she's like, okay, well, it has to be, at a certain length. She showed me with her hands. So I said, okay, I got something like that in my suitcase. So I put it on. She's like, okay, that's better. So I learned that a little later. I was like 13, 14 years old. Okay, come from somebody else's house. So, you know, it is kind of like what your parents allow you to do, but you can be you can learn from somebody else. And that's how I kind of changed, like, okay, well, I understand what she's saying. You know, I could change how I dress because obviously she's trying to give me some type of guidance. And that's what I did. So, you know, I believe that kids, they don't know any better. They follow and do what it is that their parents allow them to do. And if no one tells them anything, either they're going to learn later in life or they're going to learn, you know, because they're just not interested no more. But it's kind of scary to let your kids learn that way. You want to make sure you tell them, no, hey, don't do this, and give them guidance so they won't create their own guidance and thinking that it's okay. So as far as discipline goes with daughters, you just gotta let them know consequences. And I'm not talking about just like a spanking. I'm talking about more of, okay, you know, you keep dressing like that. There are people out there in the world who are a little crazy and they may be attracted to that. And you could get, you know, touched in a certain way without even trying to be touched. And this is a touchy topic for most people because people don't believe that what you wear is not, it doesn't create any harm, but it does. You know, you got to make sure you are dressed appropriately because everybody's not out here and everybody's not nice, you know, and respectful. So you do have to wear and dress a certain way when you are a young person. But the last thing I'm going to say is one thing my mom did do, though, is when it came to me sleeping over somebody's house, she always said, you would never wear a dress. You would never wear a skirt. You're going to be covered up, head to toe, buttons, pants, all that. Right. And I'll go over a sleepover, and I'll see all the girls having mini boy shorts, mini, just inappropriate for, you know, the fathers, whoever's in the house. Sometimes it starts from that alone. You know, kids are getting touched right there. And it's because you're allowing your daughters to go to places that, you know, where there's men around. And you have to make sure that you protect them and what they wear. Yes, I believe that's a true thing. You have to dress appropriately. And that's all I'm gonna say.
Yeah. And before the next person goes, I want to add something because we all have kids. A lot of us have kids, right? Everybody on the panel have kids, I think. Yeah. So except the Lost in Translation, they're on the way.
I don't have kids. I don't have kids.
Him and Ray.
Don't get it twisted. Ray does not have kids.
You will.
We don't. We don't mess up in this family. I'm just letting y'all know. When I have kids, I'll be married.
But I will say this because, I mean, so my daughter, she plays basketball, and on the basketball team, it is a male coach. Now I'm already against that. So I'm at every practice. I'm trying to get to know this man because, you know, my daughter even whispered to me, "You no longer exist." So I'm just making sure, you know, everything was an up and up. Rick, I want to see your face. This man had the audacity to reach out to my wife and say, "Hey, listen, we have a sleepover at my house, and all the girls are going to come over and watch movies." I said, "Excuse me?" I said, "Sir, you're a grown man with a bunch of girls." No, it ain't like that. My wife gonna be there. No, sir. No, sir. No, sir. No, sir. Not gonna. No, sir. My daughter would not be coming. She would not be participating. Absolutely, 100% not. Not gonna be at your house. You crazy? No, sir. And my daughter cried. I said, "No, listen, sit down, sit your ass down, because we need to have a conversation. You're not gonna be at no man's house." I had to get on my sister's daughter wearing that little skimpy ass shit, and my sister not saying nothing. Walking around the house that I drive down to Louisiana for my nephew's graduation. She come out, "Hey, uncle." That's what the fuck you, and you know me, I don't think before I speak, I just say it. That's what the fuck you got on. Some shorts, they just shorts. So they had this little get together thing. All the girls come, "Oh, we did they board short." I said, no. I said, "Let's go." I told my kids, I said, "Go get in the car." And the women are saying, "Oh, they just shorts. Why are you acting like that? You're going to ruin the whole damn party. You messing up the whole vibe. This ain't 1956. The girls dress different now. You can't." I said, "Well, my daughter won't be here. Y'all have a good party. We're going to holler at you. Peace." Right? I remove my children from, I want to know. And I think Louis Farrakhan had a point. I want to know where my kids are, who they're around, what they're doing, how the people dress that they're around, because influence on children today is an amazing thing. It'll draw them in and to pull them in, right? We talked about that Friday. So, man, we just got to be careful, and we got to be willing as parents to say no. We got to be able to say no. We can't just let the kids run amok and be out here 15 years old looking like they 20 years old. Then when a man slap them on the ass, you ready to go to jail. But you buying the clothes. That's the thing I don't understand. I see these little girls. Do we really need to blame the children? Because how are they getting the clothes? Mama buying them. Mama buying them boy shorts. Mama buying those promiscuous clothes. But that's neither here nor there. I'm gonna let y'all get it in. Brother Clarence, what are your thoughts?
My thoughts on the video, Brother Farrakhan's video.
Yeah.
Well, I think that unfortunately, we're in a time and we're in a world right now where it's a the perception of promiscuity is a good thing, unfortunately. And I think he was coming from a place where obviously you're not that stern with your child every day on every occasion, but there's some occasions that are alarming enough to where you have to be a little more aggressive than you would normally be to get the point across. And I think that was the message, where it seems like a harmless situation, but it's actually an egregious situation, because like anything, like any weed, if you just leave it there, you just say, that's no big deal. Before you turn around, that weed is all over your yard, right? So you have to just pluck it when it's small enough to pluck it. Now, I disagree with the fear part, because, and I'm not talking about Brother Farrakhan's in particular, his message, but I'm just talking about the beating of the children on any situation. I think that's a little tough. There should be some situations where you're gonna have to do what you're gonna have to do, but those should be the limits. Because the problem with raising your children in fear is, what happens when the fear runs out? What happens when their fear runs out of the consequences you're gonna put on them? Now they're gonna have a problem, not only with you, but in society as well. That when that fear runs out and they no longer have that fear, and they say or they develop the callousness or the low self-esteem in themselves, where they say, I don't care what happens to me. If you're going to punish me, you're going to punish me, but I'm going to go do what I want to do. I know I'm going to get what I'm going to get. Well, I'm going to get it anyway. Then that's the issue, when they're at the limit of their fear. Now, how do you discipline them? So that's why I say, we got to be careful in today's world, because this society is trying to get our children, everybody on the panel, I can see, our children in particular, to embrace this immoral environment that they putting out here. And so they try to get them by the music, they get them with the TV, they get them with the internet, they get them with the clothes, they get them with the food, they get them with every way they got to attack them in several different areas just in one day. Now they got to live 365 days in 1 year. They getting inundated all day long, every day. We have to step back into their lives, especially us as men. There's a real critical role that men play in children, I don't care what the gender is, in the children's lives. And if we don't be there, we are missing. That's going to really be a problem. The last thing I'm going to say is, in one of the books that Elijah Muhammad wrote, called The Message to the Black Man in America, he said that for every crazy woman out there in the street, there's a man out there responsible for that. Whether he was in the house and didn't do what he was supposed to do, whether he wasn't in the house and wasn't doing what he's supposed to do, whether he was, not in touch, or he was diddling the children, or whatever, if you trace it all the way back, there's a man that could have made that situation better, but wasn't for whatever reason, or didn't, or whatever reason. So we have to be better men. This is all symptoms of us as men, how we need to step back into our children's life, eat dinner with them, eat breakfast with them, if we can, if possible, talk with them. But we should at least eat one meal a day with them, sit down, talk to them, and get to know them, get their energy comfortable with our energy. Today's children, they come in the house, you might not see your children for a week. You might not see your child for a week, especially the boys, right? They in and out doing whatever, right? You might not even interact with them for a week. So we got to get back away from that, where we checking in. The table is where we check in. The table is where we sit down and find out what's going on in everybody's lives, see if everybody's okay. Because sometimes we wait too late, brothers, and the child is already gone. But anyway, that's my thoughts on that.
Appreciate it, Brother Clarence. R. Payne, you saw the video, man. What do you think?
Yeah, I mean, I'm used to minister. I call that fire for effect conversation. He'll throw out a lot of hyperbole like that. I mean, I agree with him in principle, so I don't have any issue with that. If you're not looking, I mean, even if the man's a disciplinarian, you expect your wife or your woman to make sure that her girls are not going out inappropriately dressed, or even around the house. I mean, my daughters, even I'm their father, they wouldn't walk around their house in panties and stuff like that. Hey, put some clothes on. So I never had to really do that because they knew better. Just put some clothes on. Don't go out of the house like that. And they got a lot of that from my wife. She doesn't like to go outside inappropriate dress at all. I mean, never, so, and that's fine. I didn't even have to say anything about that. That's just her. So my daughters follow suit. They're always appropriately dressed no matter where they're going. So other than that, I mean, what Brother Clarence said, I mean, I agree with him. I mean, I institute we have a family meal. We try to do it at least once. My girls are grown too. We still try to do it every Sunday, or at least 2 or 3 Sundays out of the month. We sit around the table. What's going on in your life? Even though they're older, my youngest is still with me, but she's 24, but she's still in the house. So we sit around the table and we kick it. What's going on with you and your life? How's the job? How's this? How's that? We talk a little bit about finances, whatever the hell we're talking about. So, so I think it's important that those, you bring your life back together every day, because everybody's going in their own directions. So it is good to make sure that you come back at the table. Is a good place to do it. I refuse to let my daughters have TVs in their rooms. So they couldn't. So, because for the exact reason that if they did, we would never see each other. So we made sure that the TV they watched was in a common room, so I could see what they were watching, but we always had to interact or whatever. So I'll just let it there. I agree with a lot of stuff that's being said here, so I don't have any real extra profound stuff to say.
Appreciate it, R. Payne. Rick, what's your thoughts, brother?
You as a man or a husband and wife, you wouldn't have another woman walking around your house scantily. Why would you have your daughters doing that?
Right.
If it's another man in your house, you wouldn't have your girl walk around in some teddy outfit or booty shorts or whatever. Why would you have your daughters doing it? That's a no-go. Plain and simple. It's a no-go. And it should be enforced by both parties in the house, not just the mother. That's
Absolutely.
all I got on it.
Thanks, Rick. Mr. Bennett, you saw the video, sir. What's your opinion?
Oh, boy. Again, my reaction is kind of similar to the first video, and I'm like, what is going on in these homes? In that you talking about the uncle sleeping with the kids or the father with the kid. Again, you're talking about some gross dysfunction, like familial lines. Never forget the world out there and what the world is doing, but you're talking broken familial lines. Now, I do have some knowledge of this. I grew up in the South for some time, so we'll talk about your conservative South. I grew up in the South, and it used to be, cousins would get together and do all kinds of things and play house and stuff like that was inappropriate, but there were always common themes there. These were homes where, again, where's the father? There's no father in the house. So I again, he may be addressing some things we may not want to talk about, but it's like it's the same common theme. When you have this fracture of the nuclear family, yeah, you're going to be open to a lot of these things. But I mean, the fact that, you know, why would you have uncles and other men at your house with your kids walking around with anything? You know, this is you know, this is, I think that's more the issue, more so than the dress. there's just some layers here that really need to be unpacked. But overall, yeah, I mean, I think some of this, though, I think it's actually healthy. Almost going back to the last conversation when Blackman was here talking to his kids. I think there is, at least in our situation, I think there is room for some healthy debate or healthy where kids are, you know, obviously discovering themselves and trying to figure out. I mean, my wife and all my daughters, they've all had the fights in terms of, you're not wearing that, you know, what's the big deal? Why am I wearing that? And then the aunties also piling, they don't play either. So they're like, you know, so they may go to the conservative end, and I try to come in and try to be referee sometimes with it. And sometimes they take my views, and sometimes they don't. But I think some of this stuff, as far as, you know, what the girls wear and whatnot, or I think some of that is healthy, you know, as women try to discover themselves. But yeah, I mean, as far as the scantily clad in the house and whatnot, yeah, I mean, I think that there just have to be some rules and guidelines there. I mean, even for my wife and I, my wife, you know, she loves walk, you know, not new or anything, but, you know, it's like after work, you take that bra off. You know what I mean? It's just, you know, it's just, you know, so there's this a freedom that she has there and whatnot. So, but even then there's again, there's limits. And as far as when the kids were young, yeah, they would have sleepovers. I would leave. Like I would, you know, that was a good night for me to hang out with the guys, and we would just hang out for the night or whatever until the girls went home, because I was already then well aware that me being in the house with, you know, 8, 9, 10, 12-year-old girls, that's probably just not a good thing to be around. So I'd be around to a point to help get the party started. I made sure they had everything they needed, and I'd be like, I kissed my wife, I said, I'll see you later, and I, you know, and come back in the morning or what have you. So yeah, I mean, I think, you know, to me, this is common sense for men, especially. You know, Brother Hink is always talking about protect yourself at all times. I'm talking more so from the standpoint of a man, that you need to protect yourself from yourself. If you got thoughts like that for any reason, for somebody who's not your wife or whatever, then yeah, you need to keep yourself out of these situations as well. So, you know, I think more so the message should be going just so to the men, not to put yourself in a precarious situation where you can be in any way assume at any hint of accusation, or where were you when this was going on or whatever. I think you need to keep yourself away from some things. So those are my general thoughts on it. Again, you know, the hyperbole, although I don't know how much of that was hyperbole or not. You know, the idea of beating your wife, that's not going to go anywhere in 2023 today, whether you were saying for effect or not. Or I don't understand the inner workings of a Muslim household or whatever. Maybe Brother Clarence can, you know, enlighten us on that. But, you know, but outside of that, yeah, I mean, I think there just need to be some guidelines here. And but these homes where that stuff goes on, yes, I've seen some of that stuff, and but it's just brokenness all the way up and down. And what you're seeing with the dress or whatever, that's just a reflection of that. But, you know, it all boils down to, again, the man and the woman at the end of the day, and what kind of household that you want, and, you know, that you want to raise kids in. So I'll land right there.
Yeah, thank you, Mr. Bennett. I think they call that domestic discipline. That's what they call it. Some people call it going to jail. 2023. JT, man, you saw the video, brother. What's your thoughts, man?
I definitely agree with the minister. Yeah, like Mr. Bennett said, we don't know how much of that is hyperbole or not, but I think, because I've listened to the minister a lot, and a lot that he speaks is for effect, you know, so it is definitely for effect. But when we're talking about, you know, how the culture is now, we're losing as parents. We're losing. One of the things that we've lost is to make our kids aware of what consequences are. They have a terrible relationship with consequences and outcomes. Terrible. They don't even think it affects them until it affects them. And I just think we're losing, man, as a whole. You know, I said it before and I say it again. I don't have the answers too much anymore, right? My kids are both grown, and I have a grandchild. And I don't look at my grandchild like I looked at them, you know. My daughter her and my grandson's father, they're responsible for molding him. Me and her mother was responsible for molding her. Whatever it is that she didn't get by the time she turned 27, you know, she's going to have to make it up in life. You know, that's just what it is. And a lot of times, a lot of these children, before they know it, they're adults with children, but they never grew up. They're still the same age they were whenever that first sense of trauma happened to them. You know, so my whole thing is I don't know. We just got to keep having these conversations again, man. Because I used to think I had at least part of the answer. I don't. This shit is moving at a rapid pace. You know, I got, God willing, 40 more Christmases.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? I'm at the tail end of my life, so and you know I'm trying to get into that whole thing of being a grandfather right now, and I love to enjoy my grandson. You know, I don't know what he's going to be dealing with because you see him. My grandson's 4 now, but I look at him and I'm just trying to picture him when he's 16. You know, because it goes fast, no doubt about it, and how he's going to maneuver in this world at 16. And what type of woman is he, or what type of teenage girl is he going to be attracted to, and all these different things. And I'm looking at this world and I'm like, everything is changing.
JT,
Totally
what you gonna tell him, man? What you gonna tell him? As the grandfather, what you gonna say to him, man?
I don't know yet. You know, I'm gonna freestyle it. I'm gonna come up with something, but it's not gonna be something that's gonna be telling him everything gonna be all right. So I just want to have I want to have a hand in it, you know, as long as, you know, with my daughter and my grandson's father, have a hand in molding him and preparing him, being able to be instrumental in getting him the tools on how to move in his world. You know, that's what I want to do. So I'm gonna go ahead and land with that, brother.
Well, good luck, man. We're looking forward to that, man. As long as we're gonna be here, we're gonna be watching, man. Enjoy your grandson, man. Do that.
Yeah.
Last but not least, Ray, you saw the video, man. What's your thoughts?
Man, I just think it's so weird because like I've dated some single moms. I don't understand where there's tweens and teenagers just running around naked. Like, I don't understand what type of households y'all in, bro. Like, I don't know if it's because it was like Farrakhan talking about it. I don't know what these hotep dudes be out here doing because most of the time they broke. I don't rock with that. But apparently there's a whole world out there where there's just naked teenagers running around the house that I'm not privy to, and I'm happy I'm not, because it sounds like y'all just walking into Chris Hansen traps. Like I don't understand. I've never been in anybody's house where they was just like, yeah, my daughter's just running around naked. Like that's insane. Like what? Where does this happen? Where does this happen? Like the only place I can think of is like a Chris, like the daughter comes walking through the room. Next thing you know, Chris Hansen coming out, be like, bro, I need you to step outside real quick. We gotta have a conversation. Like it just doesn't make sense to me. So in my head, I can't conceptualize it being real, but I would 100% remove myself from there. I'd be like, nah, you ain't getting me. Like, not this one. I'm leaving. I'd be like, look, nah, bro. And it's like Bennett said, like, I would err on the side of safety. Like, that's insane. Like, if you glance over and see a scantily clad teenager walking around, leave, bruh. Leave. You about to end up being R. Kelly and you ain't even gonna get to pee on nobody. Leave. Like go home. Run. I would have my own whistle and I would blow that mug the whole way out the house, and I get outside, I start crying and fall on the ground, bro. Like, I'm not playing. I call the cops myself. And be like, why are you over here? Trey gonna show up, be like, bro, she running around, the cheeks is out. They trying to get me caught up. Get them. The best defense is a strong offense. So I say run out, fall down, blow your whistle, cry, and call the police. Like, that's all I'm saying. Because this don't make sense, bro. Like,
you're doing it. You know what I'm saying? You got to pull the camera and record yourself too. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, like if this is an accident, like it's a oops, oh geez, I was running around, I didn't know you was here. I'm blowing my whistle still, but like we can get past that. But I'm like, you walking around repeatedly. You trying to do something. I'm assuming you trying to do something, or you ain't got rules in your house, both of which are red flags. That means you and your mama is savages, and I don't need to be a part of that shit. Like I don't, like,
exactly.
What's up?
I can actually give some type of context to it, right? It may not be that they're just running around naked, but picture this. You have a lot of neighborhoods, man, where you have women that are surrounded by a lot of people in the neighborhoods, right?
Mm-hmm.
The door never locks. They got teenage kids, probably got some grown kids. They got some small kids.
Mm-hmm.
They got a lot of kids. They're the mother of the kids in the neighborhood. They got cousins that stay around the block. It's just they have a house full of people. I've known these houses for a very long time. What happens is in these type of houses, you have these older teenagers or younger adults.
Yeah.
They're anywhere between 17, 16 and 20 years old. That sister got friends, they got cousins. They're touching these girls because they're accessible to them, because the other parents don't care that their kids is down to these houses that have a bunch of damn kids, and they're mixing. 14 and 12-year-olds are mixing with 17, 16, and 20-year-olds.
Gotcha.
And might be older than that. So that's what it is. Like I said, these doors sometimes never lock.
Yeah.
Always somebody going in, you know, it's always somebody in the house. There's always something that's going on. And you will see it'll be a woman that's between the ages of 42 and shit, 60, whatever it is.
Yeah.
They, you know, if you ever notice, women surround themselves around a lot of kids and a lot of teenagers and a lot of their families. So that's how a lot of these things happen. And if she do have a man, a lot of times that man is not significant in her house because he ain't running shit. So he could be a drug addict, or he could be alcoholic, inebriated all the time, but you know, he works at the plant or some shit like that, and she can get you know, whatever she need, but he's not significant. And that man is just like a prop that's there. So this is how these things happen. This is why you will hear over 85% of women tell you that they were touched by somebody that they knew. Family friend, uncle, cousin, you know, it could be the same age.
As a responsible adult, it's my job to not be a part. That's too much going on for me. If I see a house full of kids, I'm blowing my whistle. I'm gonna fall in the front yard. I'm calling Chris Hansen, and I'm calling the cops myself. I'm leaving. Like, but again, like, why would you put yourself in that kind of chaos and be a nexus in it? Because now if something does happen, you were still there, which means, and you know how trauma works. That shit starts spreading into everybody who was in the building. Now it wasn't just this dude touched me. Y'all all touched me in the room. I ain't gonna be there, bro.
But this is
I'm not gonna be a part of it. Because that's where my brain goes to. I'm like, you gotta preserve self, gentlemen. And if you in a situation like that, like, people who go through traumatic experiences can actually rope in people that never did anything to them that were in the building. Like I saw you on the way. You touched. Matter of fact, now that I'm all jacked up later, you was in the room too. We was all in there. Don't be there. Like, don't be in those situations.
Come on, Lady Di.
bro,
So this
I
how
don't
it
even
is.
like
though.
talking to kids. Like, if your kid come trying to dap me up, I'm like, "What you doing, little homie? Like, why are you over here, bro? Can you make sentences? Or you making noises? You making noise? You got to get the fuck up from around me, bro. Get out of here. I don't like you."
Come on, Lady
So-
Di. You had something you wanted to say.
Yeah, being that I'm a lady, right? So I've
Right.
seen 3 different scenarios. I said 5. 3 different scenarios where you have friends. So like if I'm at a school, I have my friends. And depending on where I lived at, there was a place where I lived and everybody had a dad. Everybody was married. So when we have sleepovers, most of the time the parents know each other. So dads are not just going to be leaving because they know your dad. Like in that way, it's kind of like family. So they'll stay there, but they be in their own space. And then those girls still will come half naked though. They will have these, and it's the mothers that's doing it. They will have like pajamas that are not appropriate to be at another person's house that has, especially with a man, period. But what's happening is, I think, Reckless, you said it, is that the men, they're not responsible. They're like, okay, I have a daughter, but I'm gonna let my wife handle that. But really, how it's supposed to be is that the men are supposed to handle it as well, because you got to regulate. Because some ladies, they just like to follow trends, and they need to be like, hey, that's not right. And you got to kind of like, it's like you disciplining the wife and the daughter at the same time, because sometimes it's like that. Women too, they have to be checked because they also do the same thing for themselves. So as a man, men have to always be around to help that. And if you have a good lady around, you know, she'll listen. So that's that. I've been in a situation where I lived in a place and there were no dads. It was single mothers. So you won't really see men around like in those places because there is no father around. So if she had a boyfriend at that time, then he ain't coming around either. He's probably more like what you're saying, Reckless. You're not there. Okay. But you know, that's just that dynamic. And then you have it where you got single mothers that do have boyfriends, where that's your uncle, and they start naming these men after family members, and they be hanging around the house, but those are usually bum type dudes, and they will be in the house, and these girls still will be half naked. So every scenario, 2-parent household, single parent, or a single parent with boyfriends, they all dress the same. From my experience in seeing it, I've never seen nothing different. It has to be the parent that tells the daughter, you're not wearing this or you're not going. It's all parenting. It's not the daughter's fault. To me, when you're young, it's the parent's fault. Always the parent's fault when it comes to what the girls are wearing and where she's going. You have to put a stop to it because kids would do what they want to do if you let them. That's just how it is. We all did. So you have to be there, be nosy. Don't be like, oh, some parents, oh, they need their privacy. No, they don't. Because if you give them too much privacy, they ask going to be on sites they don't need to be on because, oh, I'm curious. And they start typing and searching, especially now. You got to be all up in that. Check their phone every other day or week or however you do it. Look at it sometimes because they are kids. They're going to be curious, and that is okay. But that's where the correction coming at. Don't let your kid be all, wandering too much. You have to be there.
Absolutely. And we're going to wrap this thing up. I'm going to give everybody a chance to get their final words and then where they can reach you. Lady Di, could you tell everybody your final words and also how we can reach you?
Okay, so my page is, so it says Lady Di, that's my name, but DTM stands for Dating to Marriage. My YouTube page is Dating to Marriage Support. That's where I do it with my husband. We go live on Wednesdays and Saturdays. And then I just started a new series on Thursdays. Every Thursday at 4:00, you can catch me there, where I'll be doing wife training. And wife training simply is training women to be wives, because some women don't know, and they will find out when they go on my show, because all wives have the same, all good wives, because just because you got married don't mean that you a good wife. I'm gonna be real. Good wives, all good wives have similar characteristics, because that's why they got married. They're showing men that they are a certain way to, like, let's say loyalty, because that's my topic on Thursday. Loyalty. You have to be loyal, and it's different types of loyalty that you can portray. So what I'm saying is there are wives that they have a certain space that they are in mentally, and they portray it out. And men seek that, they see it, they're like, all right, great. I think that she'll be a great person that I could spend my life with. So I'm not teaching women how to be a wife like to your specific husband, because all husbands are different. But you need these basic principles. You need to have a certain mindset to have a long-lasting marriage. So I'm starting that series on every Thursday at 4. You can catch me there. And my final thoughts are, don't be selfish, since we're talking about kids. Do not be selfish when it comes to raising them. Don't always have a negative approach about life when you're raising them, because some of us had negative things happen when we were young, but you don't want to inflict that on your kids and traumatize them with your traumatizing stories. You got to let kids kind of grow up and learn things as well, because, you know, sometimes you could traumatize your kids by the things that you went through because you're fearful of something that happened. So you're going to put fear on them now, and it never even happened to them. So kind of just be mindful of how you raise kids, because we only could raise them one time from to their baby to their 18. And then it's kind of like, I say 18 because most of these kids are leaving these days. They out the house, but at least you could say you tried if, you know, all else fails.
Absolutely. Thank you so much for coming out tonight, Lady Doc. We appreciate it, you having you out tonight. Reckless Ray, final thoughts, and tell the people how they can reach you.
Final thoughts is the best offense in this case is a strong defense, bro. If you see something that looks sus up in the house, there's too many people up in the house, there's kids running around the house naked and or scantily clad, leave the house. Leave that situation. That is the ultimate red flag. Like, you'd be better off dating a woman with mental health issues than putting yourself in that situation, in my opinion. Like, I actually have to have another tier of worse than that. That's like, it's like the chick who's got 15 million adolescent kid to adults at her house where anything could be happening because they don't got all their clothes on. And then chicks who don't have custody of their kids. And then chicks with mental health. That's the tiered system. The further you get up that tier, the worse it's going to be. All right? Like, it's just going to be problems. So don't do that. Like, we got to also, not only that, it's like, be cognizant of, have a relationship with your kids. I mean, you're going to be expecting them to change your diaper and take care of you. You might want to have a relationship. You definitely don't want your kids being the only person in the family who can swim, who's planning on having a family reunion out in the middle of the ocean on a boat that he's planning on sinking because he can swim a mile and none of the rest of them can. You don't want that scenario because they will drown your ass in the ocean. I'm just saying, it could happen. But have a relationship with your kids. Know where your kids are. Don't let your kids go over to the house where all the kids are with no clothes on, bro. Like, you might want to check if your kid is in that situation where they all hanging out over at the house. Like, you might want to check on your kids. You might want to tap in and make sure that house is straight. Like, you might want to let them know that you are an active parent. You might want to be an active parent in your kid's life. But I'm Reckless Ray De Niro. You can catch me talking about money. We don't talk about children on my channel ever. So I don't have any. I don't know any. I don't be around none. So, you know, we'll get your money right. Like I said, next 12, 24 months going to be real interesting. We talking a lot of crypto and stuff over there now. So you can tap in with me over at Reckless Ray De Niro on YouTube. Reckless Ray De Niro all over the place. You can find me. Like, you see a picture with my goofy ass head on it. And, you know, we get it popping.
Appreciate it, Ray. As always, it's a pleasure, my brother. Thanks for coming out. Rick, come on, brother.
Yo, no, man. Y'all can catch me on YouTube, man. Ricky Williams, #TWT. Tomorrow night is book club. I just like to show y'all. A lot of people talk about books, but a lot of people haven't read them. We continuing the Black Man's Bible, as I like to call it.
Yeah.
Oh man.
The Black Man's Guide to Understanding the Black Woman is what we're
I
reading
lost
on
my
my
copy
channel,
years ago.
right?
But
So we on part 4 of this. We on part 4 of this. That's Wednesday nights at 8 p.m. Friday nights I'm over on Twitch. We listen to music. It's called Feel Good Fridays. Different genres of music. We just kick back, you know, get a little cocktail, talk shit and swallow spit and listen to some tunes over there on Twitch. So y'all know how I go. Take care of yourself and take care of yourself first. Without you, none of this stuff happens. Once you do that, take care of your family. And I guarantee y'all everything else will take care of itself. Y'all have a great night. Peace, y'all.
Appreciate it, Rick. It's always a pleasure, my brother. Thank you for coming out. JT, final thoughts, brother, and how do people can reach you, man?
Okay. Yeah, I think I gave my final thoughts earlier. When it comes down to, like I said, I'm a little bit lost for words right now. I'm going to the drawing board. So I'll probably be talking a lot more about this on my channel, What We Know podcast, along with this whole thing with learning how to actually date. I think I'm just going to make it a guide for men, how to vet, how to build yourself, and what to look for, you know, when you in this journey. And that's basically what I'm gonna keep doing, man. I'm just gonna keep trying to find answers, because that's where I'm at right now. I ain't got them. The more and more this world keeps changing, the older I get, you know, and the more that I learn, the less I know. So I'm just right along with the rest of y'all, man, trying to figure it out. But again, you can find me on What We Know podcast. And again, I got some great content on there. If you guys haven't subscribed, go over there and subscribe, man. Look at a couple of videos, see what we talking about. And that's it, man. I'm gonna land with that.
Appreciate it, JT. It's always a pleasure, brother, for you to coming out. Good to see you again.
Absolutely. Yes, sir.
Brother Clarence, are you there, sir? Go ahead and give us your final thoughts.
I am here.
And how
brother.
people can reach you, my brother.
Okay, first of all, you can reach me at Let's Talk the Better Black Life, the YouTube page. Just type in Let's Talk the Better Black Life, and you know my page will pop up, and you know you can reach me there if you have any questions or you want to, you know, challenge me on something I said. We're glad to have you come over. As JT knows, Black Man knows. So we and Mr. Bennett, they know if you want to challenge us, we welcome you. But anyway, my final thoughts is this, man. You know, you guys know that I'm always saying that the Black man can change the whole world. He just don't know it. He just don't think he can. He don't believe he can. He don't have that belief in himself. And so if we stop doing a bunch of stuff, we can make a lot of things better for not only the Black community, but the whole world. So we were talking about parenting in particular tonight. And parenting is one thing, man, that unfortunately, us as Black men, man, we have dropped the ball. And we got to admit that, man. We got to take that L. And that's the only way we can fix things, is when you take an L and you realize, okay, what did I do wrong? Right? It's like when you lose a game in basketball. Next day you watch the film and you say, oh, okay, you know, we was giving this guy too much space. We was letting this guy get too deep in the key, whatever, right? So we have to look at the situation and say, okay, what are we doing wrong? One of the things we're doing wrong, we're not connecting with our children as men, as a group. You know, we got some cats like Bennett, you know, and some of us that have tried to do it, you know, as best as we could based on the craziness of the lifestyle, but we got to plug back in. And I know a lot of our brothers are going through problems. I got a son right now going through a serious custody battle right now with an ex. But so I know how the court system treats our young men, but we still have to fight to get back into our children's lives. Luckily, my son, because he listened a little bit, you know, we have my granddaughter with us, but I mean, it's ugly out there. And so we're in a new day. And we can't parent like our parents taught us and disciplined us physically in a different time where the society was accepting of that. In this time, the society don't really accept that. So we got to be innovative. We got to innovate new ways to discipline. And one of the things, like I said, is you got to always be disciplining, always be disciplining. And when I mean disciplining, I mean encouraging them to do better. We have to always be doing that. That doesn't just start, oh, they did something wrong, now I'm going to take you in the room and, with the belt or whatever, right? That's not, when you wait to that part to discipline, it's going to be much harder. It's much harder to discipline when you wait until that point. But when you constantly got that discipline going, and I don't mean aggressive, but I mean just you constantly encourage them. Son, what you do today? What's going on with you, man? Miss Farquhar said we got to debrief our children when they come in the house. What's happening today? What's going on? Even for 5 minutes or whatever. So hopefully that's something that we can pick up as men. We can start realizing, hey man, we got to just tap back in. Maybe we can't do it every day. Like I like what Payne said, man. Okay, we can't do it every day, but we'll tap in like twice a week or twice a month or whatever. We just gotta have a ritual of tapping in, man, so we can download and get the stuff off their hard drive that the world is out there putting on their hard drive. We can create these conflicts in what they're being told out there, so that we can get that off of their mind and upload the right stuff back onto their mind. It was always a pleasure, gentlemen. I appreciate y'all for letting me come up here and run my old mouth as long as I did, man. And I will see y'all on the next one, man. Appreciate y'all, man. Thank you.
As always, it's been a pleasure, Brother Clarence. Thank you for coming out tonight. Our Payne, final thoughts, sir.
Yeah, real quick. If you have a good relationship with your children, I mean, cultivate that. I have one of the things I used to do with my youngest daughter was taking the tennis lessons. And so we had to drive maybe around 10, 15 miles. So we were in the car, once or twice a week while she was learning tennis. We would stop at a diner every so often and have breakfast. Those things I would cherish. My oldest daughter did some similar stuff with her as well. So we always talk. So that was a good thing. So when you talk and you have a relationship with your children, the things that when discipline will come, natural discipline on making sure they do the things that you expect of them. But any other kind of corporal discipline will be in the context of your relationship with that particular kid. And that will guide what kind of discipline they really need, because most likely they won't be stepping out that much. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
If you have a good relationship with them. So that's what was happening with me. I can't speak for anybody else, even though I wouldn't begrudge a parent for disciplining their kids with love the way they see fit. That's none of my business, as long as it's not abuse. As far as you can reach me on Marriage and Politics and Sports. Marriage, Politics, and Sports is my channel. And I got a couple of things going on there. The one thing about politics is that I'm heavy on blacks divesting out of the Democratic Party. I'm not saying going over to Republicans, but we got to do something watershed. We got to stop giving our votes to one party. They don't deserve it. Anyway, I'll leave that there. So just go subscribe to my channel. I got some other things going on. Like I'm getting tired of talking about women. So I'm finding clips everywhere about women, talking to women. So I said, let the women tell it. And then I'll put some clips there about certain things that women can tell women better than we can. And so I got a couple other things going on. I'm going to drop another video tomorrow. I don't go live on my channel, but now I got a taste for blood after BMU threw me in the water. I don't know. So let me land it there.
I appreciate it. I saw your show Monday. That was a good show, brother. Appreciate it. Thank you for coming out. And last but not least, Mr. Bennett. Mr. Bennett, come on, sir, and give us your final thoughts and how the people can reach you, sir.
Well, I'll just start with that first. I certainly agree. I think with Brother Payne, I think a nurturing environment is your best defense against stuff out there in the world. But also what I'm learning as well is at some point you got to let your kids go also. There's just certain things that a person only gets. I mean, the story of the prodigal son, that's as real now as it is ever. And sometimes people have to have to come to themselves before they understand that, mom and dad were right. So, I mean, even at this point in my parenting now, I feel less that I'm a parent now and more of a mentor / coach. So again, if you want the advice, I'll give it to you. But there's something, but I'm not afraid at this point to let my kids fall and, learn some things and then come back to say, oh, dad was right. So my daughter, she gave me a compliment a couple weeks ago. She said, Dad, you know what? Some of the stuff you've been dropping as of late has just been fire. And I just thought that was just like the greatest thing. It's my middle daughter. So I was like, all right, something's setting in, something's dropping right. So as long as I keep that door open for communication, and then come to me with their stuff, I think I'm in a good place. But yeah, you can reach me. Certainly, I'll be in these YouTube streets. I'm a faithful member of the Black Man Unfiltered Network. I'm trying to grow the Ball Brotherhood here, as you can see, which is full of the Ball brothers are just taking over. So I'm just trying to grow that platform in these spaces. But yeah, I'm just here to be a participant, just to help this channel grow. I think Black Man is doing some great work here. And so you'll usually have me here, find me here on Tuesday. Sometimes I kick with the Sports Brothers on Wednesday, and I'm always trying to chill in the barbershop on Fridays. And just to give a perspective, people call me a balanced perspective, but I just give from what I've been given. I don't try to sun anybody, but I just share what's been given to me and how I've lived. And if that can if that lands right with some people, then I'm better for it. So you find me here. You also find me on Instagram, just Paul T. Bennett on Instagram. Again, my main theme is fitness over 50. So I just turned 54, and I'm just trying to keep this thing going, stay consistent, with everything, and just teach brothers just to take care of themselves, and physically, the health, get all the health checks that you need, take care of yourselves. Again, you're 50 plus, get those colonoscopies, get all the stuff that you need to be taking care of yourself. Don't be afraid of that digit going up your butt. Get all that stuff done. All right. And because we need these brothers to stay around. So, so again, it's just fitness, family, I've been married. I'm in my 27th year of marriage. And, so it's just about just spreading positivity of, what is possible. And, so I just live my life out there. Like I said, I don't have an alter ego out there. You'll find me. I'm pretty much Paul T. Bennett everywhere. I'm Bruce Wayne everywhere. So, just looking to contribute in these spaces, and be of use in these times. So, but thanks for the opportunity.
As always, it's been a pleasure, Mr. Bennett. Thank you so much for coming out and sharing your wisdom. Dr. Nakumba, I see you slipped in, sir. Did you want to add anything to the conversation before we let the congregation out?
Oh man, always thank you for the opportunity. I feel like a party crasher coming here at the end after all the people have offered all their great advice, and I just I do want to add just a couple of lines. But shout out to the panel, the entire panel, those who already dropped off. Greetings to you all, and shout out to those in the chat. And thank you, BMU, for the invite. I just wanted to add the piece, and if it's already said, my apologies. I had to rewind a little bit. I had to get in find a good signal first. Rewound and watch the Farrakhan bit. But I wanted to add a piece in response to the question of does a good mother make her daughter cover up? Please keep in mind, I think a conscious mother would help her daughter stay covered up. And if you listen to anything Mrs. She Said has been talking about conscious parenting, because a lot of times this passing of the daughter, the allowance of having her showing her body, the men who are around, if you think about what is the payoff. So the unconscious woman who might be engaging in a power feed, or the father who's engaging in this power feed, like they receive a feel good when their daughter is showcased. They receive this perception that like she's a trophy piece. So in addition to their already warped thinking, there's an additional emotional piece that goes with it. For the parents who see their daughters as a piece of meat, so to speak, no pun intended, but the ones who were already conditioned to believe that our daughter is meant to serve, and I don't mean just be a daughter, I mean serve. So the people who have that belief system, it doesn't matter if she's a good woman or not, their core belief system of what a child's role is, what a child's job is, and the power that they receive from it, keep those in mind too. And sometimes they know about it and sometimes they don't. Mental illness is a real thing. Not to excuse it. What I'm saying is consider those who have low self-worth, those who have low self-esteem, and you get some of that perceived feel good by showcasing your daughter. And then the parents who want to be friendly, friends with their kids, parenting the kid that they want and not the kid that they have. So that plays a role too. So if you don't believe that if you don't know your purpose for your parenting, please look into some stuff that people are out there talking about when it comes to conscious parenting, being aware and and we're talking about healing and getting help and disciplining the kids. Self-discipline for the parent. Self-discipline. How can you have better if you can't do better? How can you actually plant a seed and expect to have better when it already comes from a rotten source or a fragile source or a damaged or misunderstood, unaware parent? So that's my 2 cents. And again, thank you. I'm glad to be up here with the bald men as well. I love being in the space. I'll be here Thursday with Coach K this week talking about anger, but you can catch me on Thursdays on my website, drnakumbi.com. And if you haven't already, please look into that petition that Mrs. She Said has going on with conscious parenting and being aware of what your children are consuming through the internet and these devices. Thank
you so much, Dr. Nakumbi, for coming out. My final thought for this one for tonight is to make sure that we reduce the amount of trauma that we expose our women to. People don't really understand exactly how we rely on our women as the nurturers or the incubators for the next generation. You know what I'm saying? What I've been looking at lately is that our women are in trouble. You know what I mean? And the thing about it is they talk about trauma all the time. Well, my thing is, it's the best way to combat trauma is to keep the lighthouse on. You know what I mean? Give them something to latch on to. Make sure that you hold vigilance over them. You know what I mean? Make sure that you watch after them. Make sure that you teach them the things that they need to be taught and how to protect themselves in your absence. You know what I mean? And also let them know that they do have worth beyond their bodies. You know, we need to lean back into that. There was a time and place where we always had a saying, I'm black and I'm proud. You know, we had to get back to being proud about ourselves, because when we start looking at ourselves as being prideful, then we want to make sure that we put our best foot forward, and we don't want to put ourselves in certain situations. So like I stated earlier, we got to make sure that our women are protected. We also got to make sure our men are educated so they can protect. And also we got to stop putting everything on the man. You know what I mean? If God didn't feel like, you know, a man needed help, he wouldn't have gave him a woman. You see what I'm saying? We got to make sure that everybody participates in the construction and the restoration of our community. It's going to take all hands on decks. It's going to take mothers. It's going to take fathers. It's going to take brothers and sisters and uncles and aunts and aunties and grandmamas. It's going to take the whole entire village. You know what I mean? And my thing is this: we got to make sure that we look out for each other and make sure that we love each other, so we don't keep going down these things, these alleys of trauma. So I'm going to land my plane with this. I tell everybody we are all better together than we are apart. So I want to thank you guys for coming out. Dr. Nakumbi, Ray, Dr. Bennett, and Rob Payne and JT and everybody in the chat, man. Without you guys, man, we wouldn't be here. And that's the reason why we come here every single day. You guys can reach me at my channel at Lost in Translation Podcast. You can also find me here on the Black Man Unfiltered Network on Tuesday and on Friday, and also on my channel on Monday and Sunday as well. And sometimes I might pop up from time to time throughout the week. So just keep your eyes peeled. Thank you guys so much for coming out. And as always, it's been a pleasure. And thank you guys for coming out to Talk That Talk Tuesday on once again, the Black Men Unfiltered Network. Y'all guys have a good evening. Thank you.
Peace.
God bless.